Have you ever caught yourself wondering what your gas might be trying to tell you? It's one of those things we all experience, but hardly ever talk about, especially when we get older. I'll be honest, I used to brush it off too, thinking it was just a funny little quirk of aging, something to laugh about or ignore. But the truth is, sometimes that little rumble or unexpected smell is your body waving a big, urgent red flag. I remember those moments when I'd nervously hope no one noticed, blaming the dog or the chair, just like many of us do. It's awkward, yes, but it doesn't have to be embarrassing or scary. Here's the good news. There are simple, gentle ways to understand what's going on inside your body. No complicated tests, no drastic diets. Just easy, practical steps you can take to listen to your gut and keep it happy. And today, I'm going to share with you some surprising signs your gas might be giving you. Signs many older women don't even realize are important. These aren't just random facts. They could help you avoid bigger health issues down the road. So, stick around, because you deserve to live comfortably, confidently, and well-informed. Have you ever experienced a moment where your body sent a signal you didn't quite understand? I'd love to hear your story. Let's talk about it together. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. Now, let's begin. 1. The sulfur stink that lingers. There's a certain kind of honesty that comes with age. A quiet courage that allows us to talk about things we once considered taboo and laugh about them too. But there are still some topics that sneak up and try to make us blush, even after 6 or 7 decades of living. Gas is one of those topics. It's funny, a little embarrassing, and sometimes, if we're honest with ourselves, a bit worrying. Today, I want to talk to you about a very specific kind of gas, the sulfur stink that lingers. You know exactly what I mean, that heavy, almost eye-watering smell, the one that seems to hang in the air much longer than you'd like. But before you reach for the air freshener or blame the dog, let's dig a little deeper together. Let's start with a memory, a familiar scene in the lives of so many women our age. Picture a Sunday morning at church. The pews are filled, everyone dressed in their Sunday best, hats and all. The sermon is just hitting its stride, and suddenly, you feel that little gurgle in your stomach. You try to ignore it, shifting in your seat, squeezing your knees together, silently pleading with your body to behave. And then, in the quietest moment, it happens. A silent release. You breathe a sigh of relief, thinking you've gotten away with it, but within seconds, there it is, that unmistakable, thick, rotten egg smell. Your eyes water a little, and you try to look nonchalant, but your mind races. Did anyone else notice? Is it wafting their way? Maybe it's just your imagination, or maybe the old heating system is acting up again. We've all been there. These moments can feel mortifying, can't they? We laugh about them later, maybe with a close friend or our spouse, but at the moment, it can feel like the world has stopped. And yet, here's the secret no one tells you. These experiences aren't just normal. They're also a window into what's happening inside your body. Gas is your body's way of talking to you, and sometimes the message is worth listening to. That lingering sulfur smell comes from a gas called hydrogen sulfide. It's the same compound that gives rotten eggs their infamous scent. Most of the time, it's nothing to worry about, a result of certain foods we eat, like eggs, broccoli, cabbage, or the occasional sausage from a buffet. For many of us, a lifetime of home-cooked meals means we know the smell well. But what happens when it's more than an occasional whiff? What if you start to notice it several times a day, every single day, and it doesn't seem to go away, no matter what you eat or how often you air out the room? This is where the story turns, and I want to encourage you to be gentle with yourself. Too many women in our generation were raised to be polite, to ignore discomfort, and to keep quiet about our bodies. We're supposed to carry on, smile, and say we're fine even when something feels off. But no rule says you have to ignore your body's signals. There's power in paying attention. Let's talk about what persistent sulfuric gas could mean. When your body isn't breaking down food properly, something doctors call malabsorption, it can produce more hydrogen sulfide than usual. This can happen for a number of reasons. For some, it's as simple as lactose intolerance developing later in life. Maybe you grew up drinking milk with every meal, but now, a bowl of ice cream leaves you feeling gassy and uncomfortable. For others, it could be a sensitivity to gluten or another ingredient you've eaten for decades without issue. And then there are more serious possibilities, like a bacterial imbalance in your gut, an infection called giardiasis, or, in rare cases, a warning sign for conditions such as celiac disease or even colorectal cancer. I know, just reading the words cancer or infection can send a chill through your heart. But knowledge is strength, not a sentence. The sooner you recognize a pattern, the sooner you can do something about it. I remember my friend Margaret, who used to make the best lemon meringue pie in the county. For years, she would joke about her sensitive stomach at our bridge club. She always carried peppermints in her purse, ready to pop one the minute she felt a little bubble in her belly. When she started noticing that the smell lingered after every meal, she thought it was just part of getting older. But then she began to feel bloated, sometimes even losing a little weight without trying. It was only after some gentle encouragement from our group that she finally visited her doctor. Margaret was nervous. Who wouldn't be? She'd been told for so long that women should keep these things private, that gas was just a fact of life after 60. But her doctor listened, really listened, and ordered a few simple tests. It turned out she had a bacterial imbalance that was easily treated with probiotics and a few dietary adjustments. Within weeks, her symptoms improved. No more lingering sulfur smell, no more worrying about which pew to sit in, no more embarrassment at family gatherings. The relief on her face was as plain as day, and she later confided that she wished she'd spoken up sooner. Of course, not every story resolves as quickly or easily. Sometimes, that persistent foul smell is a symptom of something more complex. When your body can't absorb certain nutrients, or when your gut is irritated by inflammation or infection, it lets you know. And sometimes, it's not just about discomfort, it can signal a more serious condition that deserves attention and care. Here's what you should watch for. If the sulfuric smell is accompanied by frequent bloating, diarrhea, or unexpected weight loss, don't dismiss it. If you notice pain, or your symptoms persist for more than a few weeks, make an appointment with your doctor. And don't let embarrassment get in the way. Your health is far more important than a moment of awkwardness in the exam room. Doctors have seen and heard it all. You won't shock them. Let's talk about what happens inside your body to create this odor. When you eat foods rich in sulfur, like eggs, garlic, onions, or certain cruciferous vegetables, your digestive system breaks them down. Normally, your body does a pretty good job processing these nutrients. But as we age, our digestive enzymes can decrease, or we may develop sensitivities we never had before. Sometimes, an overgrowth of certain bacteria in the colon can take these sulfur compounds and convert them into large amounts of hydrogen sulfide, making your gas smell much stronger. Stress can also play a role, slowing down digestion and creating a perfect environment for this process. Another piece of the puzzle is the balance of bacteria in your gut, the so-called microbiome that scientists talk about so much these days. Decades of eating, antibiotics, changes in diet, and even just the natural process of aging can shift this balance. When the good bacteria get outnumbered by the bad, you may start noticing changes in how your body reacts to food, including more smelly gas. But it's not all bad news. Your body's ability to signal these changes is a blessing in disguise, a way to catch problems early before they turn into something bigger. Taking action doesn't have to mean drastic changes or scary treatments. Sometimes, a few small adjustments can make all the difference. Here are some gentle, practical steps you can try. Keep a food diary. Write down what you eat and when you experience symptoms. Patterns often emerge that can help you pinpoint triggers. Try probiotics. These good bacteria can help restore balance in your gut. Yogurt, kefir, or supplements, ask your doctor which is best, can make a difference. Limit certain foods. If you notice the smell gets worse after eating eggs, broccoli, or dairy, try cutting back and see if your symptoms improve. Stay hydrated. Water helps your digestive system work smoothly and can reduce the concentration of gases in your gut. Don't ignore other symptoms. If you notice changes in your bowel habits, unexplained weight loss, pain, or blood in your stool, see your doctor promptly. I know it can feel overwhelming, especially when you've spent a lifetime being told to just deal with it. But you deserve to feel comfortable and confident in your body. Ignoring the signals only makes things harder in the long run. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Let's not forget the emotional side either. Embarrassment can keep us isolated, afraid to join friends for lunch, or worried about long car rides. That's not the life you deserve. I've seen women blossom after finally finding answers. Suddenly, they're laughing louder, staying longer at gatherings, and living life without the quiet dread of that lingering smell. If you're feeling anxious or discouraged, remember that you are not alone. Millions of women deal with these issues every single day, and there is nothing shameful about wanting answers. Our generation has shattered so many taboos. Why stop now? The courage to ask questions is the same courage that has carried you through decades of change, love, loss, and growth. You might even find that talking about it with someone you trust is a relief. Sometimes, just knowing you're not the only one can lift a weight off your shoulders. And sharing tips, what foods to avoid, which remedies work, can turn a source of anxiety into a bond of friendship. So, the next time you catch that sulfuric smell lingering in the air, take a moment to listen to what your body is telling you. It's not just a quirk or a punchline. It's a message, a reminder that your health, your comfort, and your peace of mind are worth every bit of attention you can give them. You have the right to live without shame, to ask questions, to seek answers, and to demand care when you need it. Your journey, your body, and your well-being are important, at every age. Don't settle for less. Pay attention, stay curious, and trust yourself. Sometimes, the little things do matter. And sometimes, that little whiff of sulfur is your body's way of whispering, "Take care of me. I'm worth it. You are worth it." 2. The explosive loud machine gun fart. There are certain moments in life that no one warns you about. Some are beautiful, like watching a grandchild take their first steps or seeing a sunset from your favorite porch chair. And some are a little less poetic but just as universal. If you've lived long enough, you know that the human body can surprise you in the most unexpected and sometimes hilarious ways. One of those ways, believe it or not, is through gas. Not the quiet kind that slips out unnoticed, but the kind that makes a statement. The kind that, if you had a nickel for every time it happened, you could probably pay off your mortgage by now. Let's talk about it. The explosive, loud, sometimes rapid-fire gas. You know exactly what I mean. The sort of moment when you're sitting in a silent room, maybe in church during a prayer, or at your friend's house for a cozy dinner, and suddenly, your body betrays you with a noise that could rival a motorcycle revving up. It's not just one quick burst either. Sometimes it's a series of pops and rumbles, like a drum solo you never auditioned for. There's no warning, no time to excuse yourself, and you're left wondering whether anyone noticed or if, mercifully, everyone will pretend nothing happened. If you're lucky, it happens at home when you're alone, and you can laugh about it, maybe even feel a little proud of the sheer volume. But more often than not, these machine gun farts make their presence known at the most inconvenient times. There's something uniquely humbling about sharing a meal with loved ones, enjoying stories from days gone by, and suddenly becoming the unintended center of attention. Not for your wisdom or your wit, but for the unmistakable sound that echoes across the table. The thing is, we all want to laugh about it, because what else can you do? Life has a way of humbling us, And sometimes the only remedy is a sense of humor. Still, after the chuckles fade, you might find yourself wondering, why does this happen, and should I be concerned? The truth is, while a loud, explosive fart now and then is perfectly normal, especially as we get older, there's a story behind the sound. And sometimes, that story deserves a little more attention than we give it. First, let's pull back the curtain on what's happening inside your belly. As we age, our digestive systems can become more sensitive to certain foods, and the way our bodies break down those foods can change. The machine gun effect often happens when gas builds up in the intestines and is suddenly released, creating a rapid, staccato burst. It's loud, it's startling, and sometimes it's just a side effect of that bean salad you had at lunch or the extra helping of broccoli at dinner. But here's where it gets interesting. If these noisy episodes become a regular part of your daily life, if you're noticing them after almost every meal, or if they're joined by bloating, a bubbling sensation in your gut, or even mild cramping, it could be your body's way of asking for help. You see, not all gas is created equal, and not all causes are harmless. One common culprit is something called excess fermentation. Imagine your gut as a little factory, breaking down food with the help of bacteria. Most of the time, this process works smoothly, and a bit of gas is the only byproduct. But sometimes, the wrong kinds of bacteria move in and start partying a little too hard, especially in the small intestine, where there shouldn't be much gas at all. This condition is known as small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO. When this happens, food gets broken down in places it shouldn't, producing not only more gas but gas that can't escape quietly. The result? Loud, rapid-fire releases that sound like a marching band. It doesn't stop there. As we grow older, we also become more susceptible to lactose intolerance, even if we spent decades enjoying ice cream, cheese, and milk without issue. Suddenly, a glass of milk can turn a peaceful evening into a symphony of gurgles, pops, and the unmistakable need to excuse yourself. Gluten sensitivity can show up out of nowhere, too, making even a simple slice of toast a digestive adventure. And then there's the matter of diet. High-fiber foods, while wonderful for our hearts and blood sugar, can be harder to break down, especially if you're not used to them. Beans, lentils, cabbage, and whole grains are all notorious for producing gas, and sometimes they do it with gusto. Combine that with the fact that our intestines naturally slow down as we age, and you have a recipe for regular, thunderous outbursts. Let's not forget the social side of things. There's something uniquely challenging about trying to keep a straight face when your own body is playing percussion in a quiet room. I remember the story of Ruth, a dear friend who loved hosting a book club every month. She was always the life of the party, making everyone feel welcome with her warm smile and delicious apple pie. But Ruth had a secret. She dreaded the moment after dessert when, like clockwork, her belly would start to rumble. More than once, she tried to time a trip to the kitchen with the next burst, hoping the sound of the dishwasher would cover her tracks. Once, during a particularly suspenseful chapter, her body betrayed her with a sudden, unmistakable blast. The whole room went silent for a moment before everyone burst out laughing. Ruth laughed too, though she later admitted that inside, she was mortified. Ruth's story is so common, isn't it? We want to belong, to feel comfortable, to be part of the group. But when our bodies seem determined to have the loudest voice in the room, it can make us want to withdraw. That's why it's so important to talk about these things. Not just to laugh, but to share, to understand, and to find solutions. So, what can you do if your life is punctuated by more machine gun farts than you'd like? First, keep a gentle sense of humor about it. Our bodies are marvelous, strange, and sometimes downright funny. But also, pay attention. If these noises are new to you, or if they're accompanied by discomfort, unpredictable bowel movements, or a feeling of fullness that won't go away, it's time to start keeping track. Start with a food journal. Write down what you eat and how your body responds. Sometimes, you'll spot a pattern. Maybe dairy is the culprit, Or maybe that new fiber supplement is working a little too well. Bring this journal to your doctor or a dietitian. They've seen it all, and a few simple questions can help you narrow down the cause. If lactose or gluten is the issue, there are countless delicious alternatives these days: almond milk, coconut yogurt, gluten-free bread, that don't sacrifice flavor or fun. If you suspect SIBO or another digestive condition, your doctor may recommend some tests. The good news is that many causes of excessive gas are treatable. Sometimes, it's as easy as taking a course of probiotics, adjusting your diet, or, if needed, using medication to rebalance your gut bacteria. Beyond diet, consider your habits. Are you eating quickly, swallowing lots of air, or drinking carbonated beverages? Even the way you chew gum can make a difference. Slowing down, chewing thoroughly, and enjoying meals in a calm environment can help reduce the risk of explosive episodes. But most importantly, don't let embarrassment keep you from living fully. If you need to excuse yourself, do it with a smile. If someone else in your group struggles with the same thing, offer a kind word or a laugh. Life is too short to worry about the little noises our bodies make, especially when those noises are a sign that we're still here, still living, still sharing stories around the table. I want to remind you, too, that if your gut is making more noise than usual, it can also be a sign of underlying stress or anxiety. The brain-gut connection is real. Worries about loved ones, finances, or health can all show up in the form of digestive trouble. Take a deep breath. Give yourself grace. If your life feels especially noisy, inside or out, reach out to a friend, a counselor, or your doctor. There is help, and there is hope. You're not alone in this. Millions of older women experience these same challenges every day. Some share stories with friends, others with family, and some quietly chuckle to themselves after the latest explosion. But together, we can break the silence, laugh a little louder, and find comfort in knowing we're in good company. If you find that your machine gun moments are starting to keep you from activities you love, from lunches with friends to peaceful nights at home, please don't settle for less. There are answers, and there are ways to manage the noise. You deserve to enjoy every meal, every gathering, every quiet moment, without worry, without shame. So, the next time your body decides to give its percussion solo, remember, you are not alone, you are not broken, and you are certainly not defined by the sounds you make. You are strong, you are resilient, and you are part of a community of women who have learned to laugh, share, and seek solutions together. Let's keep talking, keep laughing, and keep caring for ourselves and each other. Because every woman, no matter her age, deserves to live boldly, joyfully, and without fear of a little noise along the way. 3. The silent but sudden gas with cramps. There's a special kind of mischief the body seems to save for us as we grow older. Tricks and quirks we never signed up for, but learn to navigate with patience, humor, and maybe a little stubbornness. Of all the surprises, one of the most bewildering is the sudden, silent gas that sneaks up without warning, often dragging with it an uncomfortable cramp that twists your insides and throws off your day. It's as if your body has decided to communicate in secret code, with whispers and twinges that only you can decipher. Let's set the scene. You're enjoying a quiet afternoon at home. Maybe you're reading a novel in your favorite armchair, or sipping a cup of tea by the window, watching the world go by. Everything feels peaceful and ordinary. Then, out of nowhere, a faint pressure builds in your belly. Not loud, not dramatic, but enough to make you shift in your seat. You hope it's nothing, just a little bubble passing through. But then, just as quickly, a sharp cramp grips your stomach, almost doubling you over, and a silent puff of gas escapes before you even know it's happened. There's no sound to give you away, only a sudden wave of discomfort and the nagging worry that your body is keeping secrets from you. It's moments like these that remind us that aging isn't always graceful, and sometimes it's downright confusing. For years, many of us shrugged off minor stomach troubles, chalking them up to something we ate or just a passing annoyance. But when these episodes of silent, crampy gas start to show up more often, or hit harder than before, it's easy to wonder what's going on beneath the surface. You're not alone if you've felt embarrassed or frustrated by these episodes. Many women, especially as we reach our 60s and beyond, find themselves navigating digestive quirks that seem to change with the seasons, our routines, or even our moods. And it can feel especially isolating because, let's face it, gas with cramps isn't exactly a polite dinner conversation. But that doesn't make it any less real, or any less important to talk about. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. The truth is, these silent but sudden waves of gas and cramping are often your body's way of waving a little flag, asking you to pay attention. They can be symptoms of a condition that's far more common in older women than we realize. Irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS. Maybe you've heard the term before, or maybe it's new to you. Either way, understanding IBS is the first step in regaining your comfort and your confidence. IBS isn't just a fancy way of saying tummy trouble. It's a chronic condition that can cause a range of symptoms: unpredictable bowel movements, bloating, and most notably, those sharp, twisting cramps that seem to come out of nowhere. Some days you might feel perfectly normal, and others you're doubled over, clutching your belly, wondering if you can trust your body to get you through a grocery trip or a visit with friends. If you found yourself nervously planning outings around bathroom locations or declining invitations because you're worried about a flare-up, you're not being overdramatic. You're responding to a very real, very frustrating condition. And you deserve better than to let unpredictable cramps and silent gas keep you from enjoying life's simple pleasures. But what causes these symptoms to strike, seemingly at random? The answer, like most things in the body, is a combination of factors. IBS is a bit of a mystery, a puzzle with pieces that include diet, stress, hormones, and even the delicate balance of bacteria in your gut. For some, a big meal or a new food can trigger a crampy episode. For others, it's an argument with a loved one or a stressful day that sets things off. There's even evidence that menopause and the hormonal shifts of aging can play a role, making women more vulnerable to digestive ups and downs. One thing we often overlook is the powerful connection between the brain and the gut. Doctors call it the brain-gut axis, and it's more than just a catchy phrase. When you're worried about family, health, or simply keeping up with day-to-day life, that stress doesn't just stay in your head. It travels, affecting the nerves and muscles that help move food through your digestive system. For many older women, emotional tension tightens the gut like a fist, making cramps and gas more likely. I remember a period in my own life when every day felt like a balancing act. My husband had started needing more medical care, my daughter was moving across the country, and I was doing my best to hold the family together with a smile. Every evening, like clockwork, my stomach would twist in knots, and a silent, crampy wave of gas would pass through. It wasn't loud or dramatic, but the pain was real, and so was the anxiety that came with not knowing when it would strike. I kept it to myself for months, telling myself it was nothing, just nerves. But the cramps got worse, and eventually, I found myself dreading even the simplest outings. It wasn't until I finally opened up to my doctor that things started to change. She listened, really listened, and explained that IBS wasn't just in my head or a sign of weakness. It was a condition, with causes and, thankfully, ways to manage it. For the first time, I felt seen. I wasn't just another complaining patient. I was a woman experiencing something very real, with real solutions. If any of this sounds familiar, know that you are not alone. Millions of women struggle with the unpredictability of IBS, and millions more have never been diagnosed, chalking their symptoms up to just getting older. But there are steps you can take to regain control. Start by listening to your body. Keep a gentle journal of what you eat, how you feel, and when symptoms strike. Patterns will emerge. Maybe it's dairy, spicy foods, or stress that triggers an episode. Share this journal with your doctor. It will help guide the conversation and pinpoint triggers. Dietary changes can make a big difference. Some women find relief by avoiding certain foods known to irritate the gut, like fatty meals, caffeine, or artificial sweeteners. Others benefit from eating smaller, more frequent meals, which are easier for the digestive system to handle. Probiotics, found in yogurt and supplements, can also help restore balance to your gut bacteria, easing both gas and cramps. But food is only part of the story. Because stress plays such a powerful role in IBS, learning to manage anxiety is just as important. Gentle exercise, like walking, yoga, or Tai Chi, can calm both the mind and the belly. Deep breathing, meditation, or even a favorite hobby, gardening, knitting, painting, can help shift your focus away from worry and toward comfort. One of the hardest parts of IBS is the sense of unpredictability, never knowing when a cramp or silent gas will strike. This uncertainty can make you anxious, which, in a cruel twist, only increases the chances of another episode. Breaking this cycle isn't easy, but it starts with self-compassion. You are not making it up. You are not weak. You are a person dealing with a challenging condition, and every step you take toward understanding it is a step toward healing. I've met women who carried their secret for years, too embarrassed to even tell their closest friends. But I've also seen the power that comes from sharing, swapping recipes, trading tips, or just laughing about the body's unpredictabilities. One friend, June, once confided that she was terrified of taking bus trips for fear she'd have an episode in public. After joining a local support group, she not only learned new coping strategies but also found lifelong friends who understood what she was going through. The shame faded, replaced by solidarity and hope. If you're feeling discouraged or alone, remember that you don't have to face IBS in silence. Your doctor can offer more than just sympathy. There are medications, therapies, and practical tools to make each day easier. But the most important tool is your own willingness to speak up, to advocate for yourself, and to insist on comfort and dignity. So the next time you're caught off guard by a silent, crampy wave of gas, don't see it as an inconvenience or a reason for shame. See it as a message, a gentle reminder from your body that you deserve care, understanding, and relief. There's no shame in seeking answers, and no weakness in wanting to feel good in your own skin. Aging comes with plenty of unexpected challenges, but it also brings wisdom, resilience, and the strength to demand more from life. Don't let IBS or any other digestive trouble keep you from living fully. You are still the same vibrant, caring, strong woman you've always been, and your comfort matters. Let's keep the conversation going, not just in doctors' offices, but at kitchen tables, in book clubs, and anywhere women gather to share stories. Because when we talk, when we support each other, we turn silent struggles into shared victories. You deserve peace. You deserve comfort. And above all, you deserve to enjoy every moment. Quiet afternoons, loud family dinners, and all the in-between, without fear of what your body might do next. Trust yourself, honor your needs, and remember, you're not alone on this journey. Let's walk it together, with courage, laughter, and hope. 4. The leak you didn't feel, gas incontinence. There are moments in life that are so delicate, so private, that we barely dare whisper them out loud. These are the things that make us feel exposed and vulnerable, no matter how many birthdays we've celebrated or how many hardships we've weathered. Gas incontinence, the leak you didn't feel, is one of those quietly humiliating topics that most women have spent their whole lives avoiding, even in the closest company. But as the years go by, our bodies remind us again and again that change is inevitable and that dignity is not about hiding what makes us human, but about honoring ourselves exactly as we are. Let me begin with a story. Eleanor was the kind of woman whose laugh could fill a whole room. She was lively, devoted to her garden club, and always ready with a quick joke or a shoulder to cry on. But after her 70th birthday, she began noticing something she'd never experienced before. A faint warmth, a little dampness, sometimes accompanied by the most delicate puff of gas that she hadn't felt coming at all. At first, she convinced herself it was nothing. Maybe it was just the seat cushion or her imagination. But as the months passed, it happened more often. On the bus, in line at the pharmacy, or during bridge night. Soon she found herself refusing invitations and avoiding gatherings she used to love, all because she was terrified of losing control in front of her friends. If you're reading this and nodding, you are far from alone. Gas incontinence, the accidental, uncontrollable release of gas, often without any warning or sensation, is astonishingly common among women in their later years. Yet, so few talk about it, and the silence creates a sense of isolation and shame. But let's call it what it is, a physical change, a medical challenge, not a personal failing or a punchline for someone else's joke. The truth is, the muscles and nerves that once worked seamlessly to keep everything where it should be can grow weaker over time. Years of lifting children, hours spent standing, surgeries, or even just the slow ebb of estrogen after menopause, all of these can take a toll on the pelvic floor. Add to this any history of childbirth, back injury, diabetes, or even neurological conditions, and the odds of gas incontinence rise sharply. Sometimes, the signals from your body, the ones that used to give you a few precious seconds to find a bathroom or clench those muscles, become muted or disappear altogether. It can be shocking, even frightening, to realize you're not in control of something so basic, so private. And the shame can be immense. But please, hear this, you did nothing wrong. You are not broken. You are simply experiencing the natural consequences of a long and active life. It is vital to remember, too, that gas incontinence isn't just about minor embarrassment. It can disrupt your sleep, erode your confidence, and make you question whether you can keep doing the things you love. That's why this subject, as uncomfortable as it may feel, is worth exploring with honesty and compassion. Let's get a little technical for a moment, because understanding what's happening can be the first step toward reclaiming your confidence. The pelvic floor is a group of muscles that act like a hammock, supporting your bladder, bowel, and uterus. When these muscles weaken, or when the nerves that control them are damaged through diabetes, multiple sclerosis, stroke, or injury, it becomes harder to hold gas or stool in until you're ready to let it go. You may also notice difficulty wiping clean after a bowel movement or even tiny accidents with stool, what doctors call fecal incontinence. For many women, these leaks are so subtle they're easy to dismiss at first. But as the leaks become more frequent, they can trigger a cascade of self-doubt and anxiety. You might find yourself tensing up when standing or sitting down, holding your breath when you bend to pick something up, or even skipping meals out of fear of an accident. The social cost can be immense. Missed club meetings, canceled lunches, turning down travel, or outings you would otherwise love. You shrink your world a little, bit by bit, to stay safe, but the loneliness that follows can be harder to bear than the leaks themselves. But here's the hopeful part. There is help, and you do not have to accept a smaller life. The first, bravest step is to speak up, to your doctor, to a physical therapist, or even to a trusted friend. Most primary care physicians and gynecologists are well equipped to talk about gas incontinence. They won't be shocked, and they won't judge you. Instead, they can offer solutions, from dietary advice to pelvic floor exercises, medications, or even minimally invasive procedures. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Physical therapy, especially pelvic floor therapy, has helped countless women regain control. These gentle exercises, sometimes called Kegels, strengthen the muscles that support your lower organs. With patience and regular practice, they can make a noticeable difference. Biofeedback and electrical stimulation are other options, helping you reconnect with muscles you may have forgotten how to use. Diet plays a role as well. For some women, cutting back on certain foods that create excess gas, beans, cabbage, carbonated drinks, artificial sweeteners, can minimize leaks. Eating more slowly, staying well hydrated, and avoiding constipation all make a difference, too. Sometimes, a simple shift in routine, like scheduling bathroom visits at regular times, can help you regain confidence and control. For those whose leaks are accompanied by other symptoms, like trouble wiping clean, unexplained weight loss, blood in the stool, or ongoing diarrhea, it's crucial to let your doctor know. These could be signs of other conditions that need attention. I want to return to Eleanor for a moment because her journey might look a lot like yours. After months of isolation and quiet dread, she finally summoned the courage to talk to her physician. With warmth and understanding, her doctor explained the many ways to strengthen her pelvic floor and manage her symptoms. Eleanor started physical therapy, made small adjustments to her diet, and learned techniques to feel more in control. Little by little, her confidence returned. She went back to her garden club, hosted Sunday lunches again, and found herself laughing, not because she had to cover up embarrassment, but because she felt like herself once more. None of this happened overnight. There were setbacks and frustrating days. But Eleanor's story is a testament to the fact that, with time and the right support, change is possible. It's also worth mentioning that products like pads and specially designed underwear can be an empowering bridge while you work on longer-term solutions. There's no shame in using whatever tools help you live more freely. What matters is your comfort, your joy, and your sense of dignity. If you ever find yourself hesitating to leave the house or cutting yourself off from activities you once loved, please remember, you have the right to support, medical advice, and community. Your world does not have to get smaller. You can keep moving forward, keep laughing, and keep living out loud. And if you're feeling the weight of shame or embarrassment, I hope you'll talk to someone. Sometimes the hardest part is breaking the silence, but when you do, you'll discover how many women have walked this road before you, and how much lighter it feels when you're not walking it alone. Let's talk openly, even when it's awkward. Let's lift each other. The challenges our bodies throw at us don't have to define our joy, our friendships, or our spirit. You have lived through decades of change, courage, and reinvention. This is just another chapter, and it does not diminish you. So, if you've noticed a leak you didn't feel, a subtle warmth, or a tiny accident that makes you cringe, know that it's not your fault, and it's not the end of your freedom. Seek advice, try new strategies, and trust in your ability to adapt, as you always have. Most importantly, don't let this change silence your laughter, your adventures, or your dreams. There is a beautiful dignity in facing life's challenges with honesty and self-compassion. Remember, you are not alone, and you are not powerless. With support, knowledge, and courage, you can meet this challenge head-on and reclaim every piece of the vibrant, social, joyful life you've always deserved. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's give ourselves and each other permission to be fully human. Flaws, leaks, and all. You are worthy of respect, comfort, and all the good things still to come. As we come to the end of this conversation, I want to remind you of something simple yet powerful. You are not alone in any of this. Every story, every little struggle and awkward moment shared today, is something countless other women have lived through as well. There is no shame in talking about what our bodies are doing, especially when it can lead to more comfort, more confidence, and a better life. We've learned together that gas, no matter how embarrassing or mysterious, can be a gentle nudge from your body, asking for your care and attention. Whether it's a lingering odor, a loud surprise, a silent cramp, or a leak you never felt coming, these are just chapters in a much bigger story. Your story, still unfolding with every sunrise. So please, don't keep your worries bottled up. Share your questions, your fears, even your funny moments, because you might just be the voice someone else needs to hear. You deserve to live each day with joy, dignity, and the freedom to laugh at life's surprises. If anything you've heard today resonated with you, I hope you'll leave a comment below and share one thing you learned or plan to try for yourself. And if this video brought you comfort or clarity, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Together, we can keep this honest, hopeful conversation going. One day, one story at a time.